Hello everyone. I just want to give you a bit more information about what I'm wanting you to do in this assignment. So quite simply, I want you to recreate this exact data table and this exact graph and copy paste it into a Word document. So I'm going to start by opening up a Word document, and so I'll just open up a new one here. So type your name at the top of the Word document. It would be helpful if you could include your hour. And let's pretend that this Word document was a lab report. So if it was a lab report, I'd be discussing my purpose now. I'd be typing my methods, what I did, and maybe now it's time for the data table. And so I would now go to Excel to create my data table, and then I'm going to copy paste it right under data table. And then when it's time to put my graph in, I'm going to go to Excel and make my graph, and I'm going to copy paste that in. So I'm going to leave my cursor here, so I'm going to be ready to paste my data table. I just got to go make it. So now I'm going to open up Excel, and I'll open up a new worksheet. And so I am going to just type the data, exactly what I see in this worksheet over here, into Excel. So let's see if that's saved. Okay, so I actually already typed the numbers, so I put them there. But notice that I just typed them. I didn't do any formatting. So now that I typed all these numbers, I have to make it look like this. And also, I did type 17.80. In fact, I'll do it again for you. 17.80, but when I hit enter, like the 0 went away. That's going to be a problem. All right, so it's time to format this. So I'm going to make it a little bit bigger here. And so one of the things that I want to do is I notice the data is centered. So I'm going to center it. It's centered left to right, and it's also centered vertically. So I'm going to make sure it's centered vertically there. I noticed that the volumes all are supposed to have 2 decimal places. So I'm highlighting just the numbers, and I'm going to go up here to this little arrow that says number, and I'm going to hit number, and decimal place is 2. That's what I want. Okay, so I put those zeros back for me. And the mass, the decimal places should be 1. So we'll go to number, and I'll make this only 1 decimal place. So that's looking better. All right, these things up here, I call them header rows, where in the header rows, I just have to edit this because I didn't put the parentheses in here. And so this is going to be parenthesis gram, parenthesis. So the header rows have the variable name, and then underneath it in a separate row are the units. So one of the things that I like to do is I like to make the header rows kind of stand out a little bit. So I'm just going to turn them some sort of pale color. And a pale color because when I print, I'm not going to have any color on my printer. And then I'm going to highlight everything because honestly, even though you and I can see these gray boxes in Excel, there are no boxes really here. So I want to highlight them all, and I'm going to go to the border icon and drop down, and I'm going to put all borders. So I like that. Sometimes I like to highlight just this row and go back to that border one. And sometimes I like a bottom double border. So it offsets it a little bit better. So do you see how that now is looking like this one? Everything's looking good except for that cubed thing. So how do I get that cubed thing? I'm going to go right here. And let's see if I can find it on here. I'm going to have to highlight just the 3. And I'm going to go to this font. And we'll find a superscript there, and we get a 3. That's something I have not been able to figure out how to do in Google Sheets. So if you figure that out, let me know, but that's going to be a problem to get to Google Sheets. All right, so I think that's looking pretty sweet. And so now I'm going to just copy paste, Control-C or edit copy, and I'm going to go back to my Word document, which is right here, and I'm going to paste in my data table. Beautiful. All right, I do want to make sure that my cursor is not stuck next to the data table when I paste my graph, or my graph will get glued to the data table. So I'm going to purposely put my cursor under the word graph, and now let's go make our graph. So to make our graph, I'm going to highlight just the numbers, so not the header rows, but just the numbers. And we'll spread this out so we can see it a little bit more. I'm going to go to Insert, and we are trying to find this scatter plot. And when you look at the scatter plots, we want just the dots. So just the dots. And now when you click on your graph, you can edit these things. Like I can put a title on, and the title is supposed to be density of unknown substance. So let's see if we can put that in there. Density of unknown, unknown substance. I'm going to click on the chart again. So sometimes it's under format, it's under chart layout, or I don't know, it's under some menu up here. You might have to look for it depending on your version of Excel. But in my version, it's right here on the plus. So if I click on this plus, chart elements, axes titles. I do want titles. And notice that when I did that, I'm going to click. I want a horizontal and a vertical. Perfect. So now that they're there, I can go label them. And let's see what they're supposed to look like. Volume in centimeters cubed and mass in grams. So we will put that in there. So this is volume, parentheses, centimeter cubed. I'm going to have to come back and deal with that cubed in a minute. And then over here, so let's see if we can get up here and go mass in grams. That's looking good. So I'm going to go back here to this, highlight just the 3 again, and I'm going to go back and see if I can do the same thing with the superscript and bring that back in. So that looks good. All right, so the next thing I need to do, I'm going to click on my plus. I need to look at the trend line, and the legend is the series 1. I really don't need that legend, so I'm going to keep that unmarked. The trend line, we want a linear trend line, but I'm going to go to more options. When I go to more options, I can click linear, but if I keep sliding down, display equation. So now it's going to give me the y equals mx plus b and the r squared, which is the correlation coefficient, and there's the info that I want. You can move this anywhere you want to make it a little bit more readable. You also can change the x-axis, the spacing here a little bit, just by clicking on the x-axis. And over here on the side, I will slide this over so you can see it better. You can slide down and you can change the margins. You can change the options, the decimal places, anything to make it look a little bit more readable for you. So let me try to do that. I'm going to right click on it. So it says format axes, and so it says the major 20. So I'm going to make it just 20 and see if, let's see if I can change the decimal places to this one. Yeah, so I think if I go down here to number, whoops, if I go down here to number, I can change, whoops, I have to right click again, format axes. And I'm going to go down to number, and I'm going to change that to 0 decimal places. I don't really want decimal places in my graph. And this one over here, I'll do the same thing. I'll right click, I'll format the axes, and it's going by 2. That's going by 2. That's good. I'll go down here to number, and I will make this 0 decimal places also. And then I'm just hitting enter. And I'm just going to do a quick check. Does this look exactly like this one? I think it does. I think it does. All right, so if we're good, we're going to take that graph. I'm going to click on it. I'm just going to copy, and I'm going to go back to my Word document, and I'm going to hit paste. And that's all I want. And then you will upload this Excel file to Schoology under the Excel assignment. And then you're going to be doing the exact same thing using Google Sheets, and you'll be pasting the Google Sheets in a Google Doc, or you could paste it in a Word if that's easier for you. Okay? I hope that helps. Let me know if you have any questions.